Hi. Welcome to the Human Design for Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Yvette Mayer, and this show's for you if you're done with cookie cutter marketing and ready to build your personal brand in alignment with who you really are. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Human Design for Marketing podcast. It's a beautiful energy this week as I record. We are in gate 53 in the human design transits. A little bit about this particular frequency. It is all about new beginnings and expansive energy. In fact, the Siddhic state, according to the Gene Keys, is super abundance. And I have had some incredible experiences with this frequency this week, which has inspired me to come into the podcast and talk to you a bit about how I use the human design gates as a cosmic content code and the incredible breakthroughs and even financial abundance that has come my way as a result of doing this. And you know, it all goes back to this one thing. When I started working with clients around marketing for human design, I realized pretty quickly that as marketers and as somebody with 3 decades of marketing experience, it's really important to understand the audience and to create marketing that is going to resonate with our dream clients, right? But human design in general isn't about the other, it's about ourselves. It's about understanding how our unique energetic frequency is designed for success. And, you know, it's about lots more than that, but really it's an inside job. That is the essence of the work. And if you're newer to human design, it's likely that that is entirely how you understand human design. It's about yourself, unless if you do somebody else's chart, like if you do an individual chart or even a small group, yes, you can start to think about the other, but that's not a marketing impact. Like as a marketer, we're generally mass marketing. So we're talking to many people at once. And so our marketing efforts, when we're thinking about content creation, the offers we're building, even the decisions we're making as business owners, there's still this gap between ourselves and our expression and making sure that what we're developing and what we're offering is meeting the needs of our audience. And the same goes beyond offers into our messaging, that we're not in a vacuum, just thinking about what's authentic and aligned for us. We're also considering the audience. And so in the early stages of me building a human design for marketing body of work, this was a question that I got, like, well, how is human design going to help me understand how to better market considering my audience? And immediately my response was, I need to give that some more thought. I didn't have an easy answer. I hadn't considered that fully. But I had a couple of these questions come to me, and so it became a line one quest. I am going to figure out how I can work with human design to better understand, or how you can work with human design to better understand others within the marketing context. And the short story is that this was the gateway into me putting a lot of focus into the transits. I did some study when this was first kind of landing for me around deepening into more advanced parts of human design to look for clues for marketing. And the transits were like, this is it. Because what the transits are is a frequency that is in the background for all of us. And as the cosmos, the planets transit, it shifts and we feel differently as a collective. Now, this is not to say that you can predict everything that's going to happen in the world when you understand the transits. That would be great. But there's certainly a strong correlation energetically once you begin to work with this particular wisdom. So how we do that is, in particular, focusing on the gate that is transiting through the sun placement in the human design chart or body graph. So the transits cover all planets and all the gates moving through them constantly. But specifically for marketing, the most important place to go for insight into how your audience is feeling, what could be coming up for them, is the sun transit, because this is the dominant placement in the chart. I mean, in the entire system of human design, you must understand your personality sun and your design sun. They are so incredibly influential in who you are as a human, who you are as a personal brand, your values, how other people perceive the elements of you around what you do. Hugely valuable. And when we think about the transits, the system is really built around the gates moving around the sun, which they all move around in the same order every year across all 64 gates. 64 gates, full year, leads to, if you do the math, each gate is present in the transit, the sun transit, for roughly 6 days. And then it moves on to the next gate. Okay. So each gate in human design, you would know this, has a gift. And if you work with, or you start to look at the gene keys as well, which is the human design spin-off or sister system, there's a lot of insight around the shadow frequency of a particular gate, as well as the gift, and beyond that into the acidic state. Okay, so in my first kind of understanding of this, I dipped my toe. And so it wasn't immediately something I started to share in my marketing or in my work, but I started to track the transits and what the energy was to get a feeling for, does this resonate with me? Do I feel this? And very quickly, the answer was hell yes. So at that point, I went all the way into the deep end and really started to immerse myself in all of the wisdom inside the human design transits. Now, at that point, and we're talking about in, I think, March or April 2023, I realized that this was incredibly powerful wisdom and began sharing what was happening in both the sun transit and the Mercury transit every week in my Human Design for Marketing Facebook group. If you're not in that, why not? You should get yourself into my Facebook group. Every Monday we release the insight in the planets that are moving through the system that week. So that was my first step into sharing transit-based intelligence to help with marketing. So to back off a bit, to get really clear on this, what I was doing was starting to think about every gate as its marketing expression. What is the marketing understanding of the wisdom of this gate? How can we speak to this frequency in our content so that it connects to more people, because they're already feeling this energy, right? So good, so golden. And as I started to do this myself, like I really began to contemplate the new gate as it moved through the chart and create content based on what I understood my audience may be experiencing. My engagement skyrocketed and I started getting emails back to my, my mass emails, my broadcast emails saying, oh my God, you're reading my mind. Like so many that I got all this confirmation that I was onto something that was transformative, that really had a lot of value. So I was my own first case study, but quickly I started to share this because I knew it would provide a similar level of insight and inspiration for my audience, my community, and my clients. Now, I also said that I cover the Mercury transit. The thing with Mercury is, well, of course I cover this because Mercury is the planet of communication. And so that's why we feel the influence of Mercury around things like technology, because that's how we communicate, okay? So this is still a really interesting place to explore because it shows us when particular topics may be being spoken into. It's a little trickier than the sun because it moves faster. There's a new energy that comes through every 2 to 3 days, and it also goes retrograde. And when it goes retrograde, it goes backwards through the gates and then it goes forwards again. So whilst I share this info, and I think it's really great as idea generation insight, and also it's also going to help you, the one that I really focus on, for the many reasons I explained, when it comes to getting this out at scale, is the sun transit. So the Facebook group, I share both. Every week you're going to learn about what's transiting through the sun, and you're also going to learn about the gates that are transiting through Mercury. And in a lot of other places, like my YouTube channel, I just share every 6 days, a brand new episode that goes deep into the gate that we've just moved into. So this has been going on now for about 8.5 months. 8.5 months into there being a brand new episode every 6 days on YouTube with me teaching you how to use that gate as a content code, a cosmic content code. Now, along this journey, some other fun things started to happen. I used the inspiration not just for content, but it helped me make big decisions in my business that have netted me massive financial wins. So I'm going to talk to you about that as well. Understanding the gates as they're coming will give you some insight around planning when to launch offers and how to message them in a way that's going to connect to your audience. It's also going to help you understand when to make specific decisions or give you something to work with around decision making. So here's 3 examples from my own business and life over the last 10 months or so that can really highlight this. So actually, the first time I ever went into a lot of detail about the transits on the podcast was in late October last year. And at the time, Gate 18 was transiting. And there's a whole episode on this. If you want to go back to it, I'll link it in the show notes. Gate 18 was transiting, and Gate 18 is the gate of judgment. Now, I just launched the Frequency Project, which is my signature human design for marketing group program. And it was my 3rd launch. And I had a huge launch, lots of incredible women joining. And I became quite overwhelmed with the amount of reports that I was generating. And I'd made a few mistakes, typos, that sort of thing. And when I was alerted to this by the women in the program who were like, I think I got the wrong page, I went into this massive self-judgment of how I, not self-sabotage, but more like not good enough energy, imposter syndrome, more imposter syndrome. And, I'm looking at what's happening in the transits and I'm like, of course, I'm being incredibly judgmental of myself. And as the episode goes, I then realized I needed to kind of get out of this judgment and start to look at things in a more discerning and light and playful way. But one of the big drop-ins that I had at this time was that I needed to actually hire someone in my business to support me with getting these human design reports out into the world in a very professional, attention to detail way. And that was like this was a decision I made directly related to the transits. And I hired my incredible senior virtual assistant, Sidra, who, gosh, I can't believe how long she's been with me. It's gone really quickly, but she's transformed my business in our ability to get, well, especially readings out, which, this is something that used to take me hours to do. And now we're actually at the point where it's really very quick and very automated and very consistently delivered. So that's my first example. The next time that I moved as a result of the transits into something beyond content was as Gate 26 was transiting. And my interpretation of Gate 26 is that it is about sales. If you've got the 26, then you are likely somebody who is natural when it comes to selling. And it's also about authenticity and integrity in sales. So with this transit approaching, I decided now is the time for me to create a new offer, something fun, something that I haven't done before, that's incredibly high value, that I feel super in integrity about offering. And like, I got this hit, and the next day, like one day later, I built this new product, which is the Digital Marketing Success by Design Bundle, which since then, well, it immediately sold, by the way, but since then has brought $7,000 into our business, my business, which isn't massive until you think about this. It's a passive product for me. And that has been part of my offer suite for 7 months, which means it is adding on average $1,000 a month passively into my business to this very day. So that was really a massive win, where I was inspired and initiated by the transits into creating a product. And then the most recent example, when it goes beyond content and into offers, is this week, and it inspired this podcast. So this week, after, what's been a really challenging couple of months for me, or at least last 6 weeks, I knew that the 53 was coming, and the 53 is new beginnings, development, expansion, as I mentioned at the start of this episode. And I had this not yet product, but work that I'd done, which was actually the background intelligence that feeds my entire YouTube channel and supports me to create or to share the wisdom of every single gate and its marketing expression onto the YouTube channel and into all of my readings. So this is work that I've done, all 64 gates, that took me months and months and months to do. I did not use AI. Every part of it is from my marketing brain combined or synthesized with human design wisdom. And inside this, what I call the 64 cosmic content codes, I consider every gate from the perspective of, if this gate was a brand, what would this brand stand for? What's the energy of this gate? What would this gate's values be? If this gate were going to tell a story or inspire a brand story, what would the story be about? Then, if this gate were to inform content overall, what kind of content would it inspire? And then finally, if I was going to create content based on this gate, what prompts would support me and, of course, my clients and you? Now, I started working on this in August last year. So I'd already been doing the kind of light gate transit updates in the Facebook group for a few months when I had this download. And I've shared content on this week in my email, in my social media, about like this moment when I had the drop in that this was something that, to my knowledge, didn't exist, that I felt so divinely gifted and able to bring through. And I got very excited. It was a weekend. It was a Saturday morning when I had this idea of creating a content code for every single gate. And I thought it was going to be, it's going to take me a month because I'm going to do 2 gates a day until I've done all 64. But that was absolutely not what unfolded, because, of course, for about 3 or 4 days that happened, and then life got in the way, and it ended up taking months and months. It took months. It took to the end of the year to get all 64 gates done. In the meantime, though, it inspired the YouTube channel. So it was the foundation content that inspired the YouTube channel. And even that was, that helped me stay accountable, because I had to create the cosmic content codes in time for the YouTube episode. So I didn't create these codes in order of 1 to 64. They got created in order of when the YouTube episode was going to be ready. True story. But I needed to get it all done, because it was adding pressure to my workload, but in a really great way, because I knew this was going to be so formative for my business. So I did all of this, and then because it took so much from me, and I felt like it is so, I don't know, I felt like I needed to protect it because it's my secret genius, until this last couple of weeks. So this last couple of weeks, kind of reconnecting with my business and needing a boost. When I was asked by Emma Dunwoody, who is my mentor, peer, friend, co-collaborator, if I could share these 64 gates through the lens of marketing with her, she sent me a text and said, "Hey, is this something you have? Could you share it with me?" And I'm like, you know what? Not the first person to ask. I've been asked by a few people, because I have often shared just one page. Like, I'll just share with you your personality, son. But I've never shared all 64. But when she asked, I think it was like the final jolt that I needed to actually turn this wisdom or body of work, whatever you want to call it, into an actual product. And of course, working with the transits, I realized that sharing it for the first time in this beautiful, expansive, new, getting started with a project energy of the Gate 53, that this would be an incredible moment in time to do that. So this week, I released my 64 Cosmic Content Codes guide, and it blew my freaking mind. Like, I was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go, but I hope I'm going to sell at least 10 on the first day. No, I sold 50, and the sales have kept coming, which has been phenomenal, but also testament to the power of the work I've done to educate the market on the value of this and people's appetite for this style of learning at this price point. There's a lot of factors that goes into a successful offer, but one thing I know for sure is this is such a great value product that has a life that expands beyond you receive it and you learn it and that's it. It's like a living, working system to provide content inspiration that is going to help you connect with your clients all year round, 365 days a year. And it's different. Like, it's not like, oh my God, you just need to use these top 10 hooks or content prompts. It's every 6 days, you better understand the kind of content that's going to work, and you have the prompts to make it really simple, especially if you're a generator, to respond to with content that meets the background frequency. So simple, so powerful. But what is simple for me is not as simple for those of you that, don't have a marketing background, haven't spent decades understanding how to create content that is engaging. And so what I've managed to do by building out this guide is make it simple for you. So it took me 30 years to make it this simple for you. Really stepping into my line 5 wisdom here, coming to you with this as a practical solution that is, it's now available for you. So if you've already bought it, I wanted to finish this episode with a few insights into how I recommend you work with this guide. So firstly, you're going to want to follow, even if you're not using it straight away, you're going to want to follow the sun transit as it's moving through and read about the content implications in the ebook. In the beginning of this ebook, it has a list of the dates for you. You don't have to go and look it up anywhere. It's inside the ebook. Now, if you're ready to take the next step and actually use it as your content planning system, when you purchased, you also got access to my project management tool, which I use Trello, and you have a gate by gate in the order, the date order of the gates transiting list of content prompts in this system. So you can jump in and immediately type in and bounce off the prompt and build out content ideas. It's so freaking good. And not only is this going to help you all year round, as I said, like there's at least 5, maybe 10 prompts for each gate. So you could literally use it every single day for an entire year and you're not going to run out of content prompts. You're going to have, there's many more than 365 content prompts. But the true wisdom and the magic is that they're built understanding what your audience is going to be feeling and resonating with around the exact type of messaging and content that you're delivering. It's so good. It's so good. And already I've got so much feedback. So beyond that, when you've got the guide, you're going to use it in a couple of ways. So firstly, the transits, which I've just explained. Number 1 is just following and reading about the gate as it's moving through. Number 2 is starting to use it to inform your content and possibly using the Trello board. Number 3, looking at the key gates that are relevant for you in marketing. So if you've never done this before, really contemplating your personal brand through your personality sun. So getting clear on that gate and diving deep into the marketing expression of your personality sun. You're also going to want to do the exact same thing for your personality Mercury. These are parts of your own expression that are always present. It's not something that is going to rotate in and out. You're always going to be exploring and sharing wisdom and lessons that are aligned to both your personality sun and your personality Mercury. And you know what? You don't even need to limit it to that. I would suggest you also go and look at your design side sun and your design side Mercury as well. Because these are the design side, they're maybe less conscious, but they're still a big part of your expression. And the layers of this is what make it so incredibly robust and powerful. So that's a bit more around the transits, the cosmic content codes, why they're so phenomenal. And I would invite you to go and purchase this guide yourself if you haven't already. If you've got questions and you're like, I don't understand this fully, please go ahead and message me over on Instagram at YvetteMayer_. Happy to bounce anything off with you. But other than that, I'm just super excited and feeling super abundant. It is a true story that in just on 24 hours during Gate 53, that this product brought in over $5,000 into my business. I mean, thank you, transits. Thank you, community. So excited and so thrilled that already I'm getting a lot of feedback around how good this product is, and my confidence in it spreading is, yeah, it's amazing. It's so good. Thank you for listening. I have really enjoyed sharing this with you, and I look forward to being back in your ears real soon. There are heaps more resources in the show notes. I can't wait to be back in your ears again soon. Bye for now.